Hey, welcome to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast with the two renegade pharmacists, Brian Bisher and Corey Jenks. You are listening to this because you are a person with type 2 diabetes who is committed and driven to breaking free from this diagnosis and creating a real, meaningful change in your health and life. In these episodes, we're here to help you ditch the scripts with doses of unconventional wisdom on topics such as fitness, nutrition, medication, mindset, and more. So without any further delay, let's dive right in.
Welcome back to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast. Brian, it's good to see you again.
Corey, always good to see you, man.
Listen, hey, we love sharing our lives with each other, and we love when you share this podcast because we look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. They keep going up, and that means it's because you are sharing it. So if you have been listening to this and you feel like, wow, this has really helped me out, well, it's going to help someone else out too. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are struggling with type 2 diabetes or just habits in general around metabolic health. And so the more you share this, the more this message will get out. And you never know whose life you can impact because we've got some very positive, encouraging responses from listeners. And so if you got one of those stories too, we'd love to share it. That always gives us a dose of hope and inspiration.
Yeah, I would say the uplifting, life-changing emails that we get are incredible. So thank you for putting some wind under our wings, everybody. So
Yeah.
if you share this episode, it's a good one to share because we are going to be talking about the 5 reasons you know what to eat for better blood sugar, but still don't. Now, most people that we talk to, work with, you kind of already know what you should eat to improve your blood sugar. And if you've listened to us talk, protein, fiber, minimal extra energy from carbs and fats. It's super simple, right? The problem isn't knowledge, because if knowledge worked, diabetes wouldn't exist. But here we are. And so today we're talking about why just knowing doesn't translate into doing and why that doesn't mean you're broken. There's all kinds of knowledge we know that we don't follow, like stay off your phones or don't look at social media, or during Thanksgiving, don't bring up politics with your uncle. But we do it anyway, Brian. We do it anyway. So it's not the knowledge, it's the doing.
Yeah, I like this quote from Jim Quick. Again, he's a great author, wrote an awesome book. Knowledge is not power, it's potential power. So when you put that knowledge in action, that's when it becomes power and can change your life.
Wow. All of those motivational posters that I had in elementary school that says knowledge is power, I have to forget about, Brian.
You get to
Thank
rip
you.
them down.
Rip them
You just
down.
forget about it.
Yes. Knowledge is like gas in the tank, but you got to be able to hit the pedal, or at least
Yes.
turn the engine on and then hit the pedal and then steer in the right direction. Wow. And if you are tired of analogies, I'll stop and get into number one. So the number one, or reason one, why you know what to eat, but still don't, is we call it the buffet effect. And in plain English, this means that when you get a lot of options, like when you're at an all-you-can-eat buffet, we start to make worse decisions. We get overwhelmed. Our senses get overwhelmed. And the sort of behavioral definition is a phenomenon where people overconsume food, especially in an all-you-can-eat setting, due to the presence of high variety and unlimited access, leading to sensory-specific satiety not setting in quickly. And essentially, we get driven to try different items that prevent the habituation to a single flavor that usually triggers the feeling of being full. So in short, all this novelty makes us overeat.
Yeah, I agree. I've definitely been a victim of the buffet effect many times, many holiday parties, many Super Bowl parties where there's just so many good, tasteful dips and things to try, and they're all mixing the same blissful combination of crunchiness, saltiness, chips, like the chips and the dips, like right. Those are, I think, the biggest buffet. Those are the ones that get me the most. What about you, Corey?
Well, for me, it's like cookies or desserts. So if you have nothing but chocolate chip cookies, I can eat one cookie. But if you have chocolate chip and then a macadamia nut, and then maybe I'm gonna get real controversial here and say an oatmeal raisin. I do like oatmeal. It's a lot of people are like, why would you put oatmeal in a perfectly good cookie? Because I like it. That's why. Now, though, this is the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast. We're talking about baked goods, but we're trying to highlight the point that we are the pharmacists. We are the coaches helping you get to remission. Yet we still fall prey to the buffet effect. I will say the buffet effect happens to me when I'm at home and I go to lunch and I want to get a single item, but then my fridge or pantry has lots of other stuff that make me want to try it too. So it's not just you go to the Golden Corral and you overeat, which I have done many times. It's whenever you are in an environment with lots of different options, you're gonna you're gonna eat more. So essentially, you get and the modern food environment is one giant buffet. And they don't reward restraint; they reward sampling every little thing. So
Yeah.
the what happens is we get decision fatigue. We don't get full. And Brian and I we talk all the time about the importance of eating foods that make us full. Satiety based eating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very important, especially in the food environment we're in. And you just have to set up your home for success.
Yeah,
So,
we're gonna get to
yeah,
solutions at the end,
yeah,
Brian. Don't
okay.
get ahead of
We'll get this.
ourselves.
Yeah.
We're talking problems first. You have to wait to the end. We don't get paid on our ads unless you listen to the. I'm kidding. We don't do ads, so you can listen as long as you want. But that's called a tease, Brian. So, all right, reason two, environment beats intention. So I have told this to countless people that I've worked with that I don't really believe in willpower because in hostile environments, willpower fails. Now, hostile environment, when it comes to blood sugar, is having junk food at arm's length, eating on the go where you're not really being mindful, having lots of little kid snacks around, not saying that you should be feeding your kids junk food, snacky foods. And I don't know, work food culture. Every other day is a birthday. Oh, Susan brought in muffins for my birthday. Why would you bring muffins? It would be a cake. We have a cake every other day for a birthday. We have a vending machine. The company bought us lunch. Oh my gosh, Brian, the environment. We have good intentions, and the environment destroys them.
Yeah. I don't like vending machines. There's never anything good in them. Honestly, they're just a machine that's like, hey, it's like lit up so nicely and buy all this processed food. It drives me nuts. I see people like teaching people how to profit off vending machines on Instagram. No, please don't. Please don't get in the vending machine business because then you're going to profit off of someone else's illness. Do you really want to be doing that? Do you really want to be like big pharma? No, I don't.
Did
So
you want to look into Brian's algorithm? Now you do. He's into vending machines apparently.
apparently they think I want to make passive income is what they think. So I have no interest in making passive income here, Corey. And so that's what my thought about vending machines when you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Is there
So,
anything else?
well, sometimes there's sugar-free gum in them. So and
No, yeah.
occasionally like a bag of peanuts, which is as good as it gets probably in a vending machine. No, we wake up and we talk to countless patients, clients who, oh, I wake up and I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to do this. And then my aunt made me cookies and I felt bad if I didn't eat one or it was someone's birthday at work. And or my kids are eating this, so I have it some too. I have the chicken nuggets in the barbecue sauce and the ranch and the. Well, first off, don't feed your kids junk as much as possible. But your good intentions, like our brains are wired to consume energy because we didn't grow up in such an energy rich, food rich environment. So if your environment is working against you, all the knowledge in the world won't save you. I mean, Brian and I, we both have doctorates. One of us is board certified, and one of us is Brian. So, and yet we talk about the traps we fall into at parties in our own kitchens. We are not immune to this. We are at our base level, we're animals that are in an environment that seek energy to live. So this is why we really need to work on our defaults. It's not about discipline or willpower. It's can we have a default meal that we eat? Or if we know we're going to go to a party with a large variety, what's our plan? It's not just knowledge, as you say, we have to act on it. So,
Yeah. Well
all right.
said.
All right. Reason number three, stress, hijacking your brain. So this is actually this stress can work on a number of different ways. I mean, stress in and of itself can raise your blood sugar, can it, Brian?
For sure. Yeah, it happens all the time. You get cortisol in your blood and it just prepares you for that fight or flight
Hmm.
response.
So if you are needing to fight or flight, do you want a big steaming bag of cold broccoli, or do you
How
need
is it
some?
steaming and cold?
It's a joke, Brian. It's the idea like a hot plate of cold broccoli. I'm making sure people are paying attention, dude. Come on. So if you need like if you're going to fight or flight, you need fast energy in your brain, right? Is
Yeah,
something full of fiber going to be fast energy?
absolutely
Your
not.
brain knows that, right? But if there's like a candy bar there, that's fast energy, right?
Yeah,
Sugar right into your blood. That's what we tell people that are hypoglycemic. Eat something sweet, right?
yeah,
So your brain, does it know the difference between I'm fighting and flighting on a Facebook post going back and forth in a flame war of comments, or I'm stressed because I'm at work all day versus I'm on the plains 1,000, 2,000 years ago and there's an animal chasing me, can it tell the difference? Can your little lizard brain tell the difference when the cortisol spikes?
I'm gonna say no.
Probably not.
No.
Your brain's going to want the same food. So when we're stressed out, we're going to choose fast energy. And one other thing, Brian, this is something I used to teach. You don't know if you know this about me, but I used to teach a class in one of my previous pharmacy jobs about uh, behavioral intervention, de-escalation, avoiding conflict in the workplace, like how to handle disruptive individuals. And as we get more stressed, our field of vision really narrows. So, and we think of like what we're narrowing on. Well, I need fast energy. I'm stressed. And if you're hungry at all, you throw it on top of there, you're going to narrow in on the yummiest, most energy rich item. So, uh, like stress, I mean, and stress happens. It doesn't make you weak if you've ever stress eaten food. And there's actually, I found two kinds of people, Brian. There's stress eaters and there's stress non-eaters. I am a stress eater. And then I have people that like, I was so stressed I couldn't eat. And I said, you have hit the genetic jackpot. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah,
So,
I think I'm a stress mix of both.
okay.
Maybe there's times I eat and there's times I'm just like because stress is good.
Mhm.
Stress, I don't want people to think stress is bad. Avoid all stress. No, stress has made us survive up until this point. So it's just I'm gonna say this like it's called eustress, I think is what it's
Yeah,
called, right?
eustress and distress.
Okay.
Eustress, I mean, when you exercise, it's a stress on your body, but it's eustress. Your body grows and gets stronger. But when you are in distress, that is where damage can happen and some of the poor decisions get made.
Yeah.
So, quick pause for a second. Because if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, but how does this actually apply to me? We want you to know you don't have to figure that out alone. If you're on diabetes medications, your A1C is high, or even if it's in range, and you still don't feel good about where things are headed, we offer a free diabetes medication exit strategy call. We'll help you understand what's driving your blood sugar, what's realistic for reducing or stopping medications, and whether a real exit strategy makes sense for you. You can book it anytime. Link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to it. Know that if you experience stress and you stress eat, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you what we call a human being. And so, and I think this is where a lot of emotional eating can happen. Late night eating. So nothing good ever happens late at night. If you're stressed, you get a, first off, you shouldn't be like, it's a bad idea to be on your phone late. You're on your phone late. You get a bad text message, you get a bad work email, and all of a sudden you get stressed and you want something comforting. Oftentimes that food can come in. And the old phrase, like we hear, I don't know if you've heard this before, but like, I know better, but then I ate 13 donuts, a baker's dozen worth of donuts.
I've
Uh,
only eaten eight at a time, so I can only hold that
eight,
record.
eight is
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
only that's the high your
You can
high
maybe
mark in
throw in
donuts.
there disinhibition, Corey. That's probably another
Mhm.
reason. We can maybe a sixth reason
Okay.
for
But
disinhibition. So when alcohol comes in the picture
oh,
and
okay. That's
you
well,
are disinhibited, you
thank
will
you.
definitely make worse food
Okay.
choices.
We're gonna call this reason 3.5 because you didn't wait till the end to add a sixth. So
Okay.
reason
All right.
3.5 is disinhibition. So any sort of chemical induced poor choice, chemical induced decision making changes.
Yes.
Brian's talking about alcohol. So, and there's a reason why nachos taste so good after getting a little buzzed. So, uh, anyway, yeah, that was my wife. So my wife and I haven't had a drink in a very long time, but my wife and I on our MO when we would go on vacation before kids would be we would like kind of fast or eat really light all day, and then before dinner have a couple of drinks on an empty stomach so that buzz would hit real good, and then every meal we had was the best meal we ever had on these trips. It was a real even our disinhibition was planned and nerdy with a plan. So
Yeah.
so all right. Well, moving on from reason 3.5 to reason 4, false compassion and comfort eating. So this is one of those places where we want to be compassionate to ourselves, but we can compassion ourselves into sickness. You ever heard these phrases, Brian? You deserve this. You've had a hard day. I earned that. I earned this. I need to be compassionate to myself and give myself something yummy. Have you heard those phrases before?
Heard them. I've said them to myself.
Okay, good. I set you up for
Yeah.
that nicely, didn't I?
Yes. Yes. I mean, for sure, I've said that I deserve this ice cream after getting my kids to bed because they were so challenging to get to bed. We'll sit there and we'll dig into the little pint. So yeah, I'm not perfect. It's definitely I guess that's my stress eating source, Corey, is my kids. is
Yeah.
like,
Welcome to the club.
yeah, yeah. So ice cream late at night or later than ideally would like to
Hmm.
after being stressed out by my kids' bedtime. And I said to myself, Brian, you deserve this ice cream
Hmm.
because you got those kids to bed, especially the nights I get them to bed by myself.
Yeah. Go dad, right?
Yeah.
I did that last night. My wife was at jujitsu and I was able to get all three of them. I got two of the three asleep and then my oldest was awake when my wife came home. So
Yeah.
almost went 3 for 3 there. But yeah, in this case, we're kind of conflating food as self-care versus I'm gonna have ice cream to celebrate in like the mindset of joy and enjoyment versus solving our mental wounds. And as I hope you, as you're listening to this, we are making fun of ourselves because we've all been there, highlighting the point that the knowledge is not the problem, it's the doing. And we're going to talk about some ways that we can work on this. So, yeah, if the comfort undermines your health, it's really not compassion. You're hurting yourself. So, yeah, and so let's move on to reason 5 here. And this is as we ironically as we increase the numbers here. Rule 5 is too many rules, no clear default. And this is where I know this Brian's like, why don't we have 17 rules? Because it's supposed to be 5, Brian. We're trying to keep it simple. Uh,
These are reasons, Corey, not rules.
reasons,
These,
rules, it's all lists. Come on. Anyways, so so when we talk about too many rules or no clear default, this is where we hear a lot of people complain about the conflicting advice out on the internet. Like which diet or people who've tried these many different air quote diets. Is it keto, low fat, fasting, plant based, meat based, carnivore, paleo, whole 30? Which one's the best? And boy, there is other than actual religion, I think the most religious group of people are people who are in a food tribe. And
Mhm.
so every piece of advice you hear from someone whose identity is wrapped up in a particular way of eating is going to tell you that not only is my way the best way, but that other way, it's literally killing you. Uh, it's uh, acutely killing you. And it's very interesting to watch certain people say, like, if you eat that tomato, you're going to die. And if the other people say, if you eat that steak, you're going to die. So we are not here to base fear, but we are here to point out that all this advice basically makes people say, screw it. They get paralyzed. And like when everything matters, nothing really matters or sticks. So we're just going to sit back and keep doing the same old thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there myself too with the whole 30, the paleo, fasting. I've lived and died by both of those. I don't think I've ever adopted any of them as a religion, thankfully,
Yeah.
or a tribe, but I definitely pushed those on other people and I told them about things that worked for me. And now I've gotten much better at sharing it in a way of like, well, this worked for me and this is why. And you might find this helpful if. So if you can phrase things like that
Hmm.
or understand like that every one of us is different and we all have different needs and people will say different blood types respond differently to different types of foods. And that's something I've never truly
I've not
explored,
gone
but
down that rabbit hole, and we will not be doing that today.
but either way, blood type, whatever it is, there's a lot of signs that I was taught in this holistic course, Corey, that there's primary food, secondary food. We won't get into that either. But the
You're
point
making
is like,
about
well,
you're making the point though. Like all this information, I'm actually I checked out briefly mentally as you started listing those things. I was like, I can't even listen to all of these things.
okay.
It was overwhelming to me, and I live and breathe this stuff. So, like with Brian and I would I say religion, and then I say don't be a food religion. And then I was about to say what we preach, what we recommend if it works for you. What we focus on is a way that actually aligns with sort of commonalities amongst all of these different diet tribes. And it's protein first, plenty of fiber, minimizing excess energy in the diet. And when you look at a well-formulated low carb, ketogenic, vegan, low fat diet, they all do kind of the same thing to a degree. And we can nitpick certain diets are deficient in certain things. We're not here to confuse you, but our goal is to provide the tools to help you eat in a way that is useful for you. I think we can. What we will agree on is the standard American processed food diet is not optimal for health. That we can probably agree
Yeah.
on. And whenever you switch from that to one of these diet tribes, you're going to get better because you're by addition by subtraction. So we've gone through these 5 reasons, and I think
Five
some
and a
of the
half.
5.5 reasons. Thank you, Brian, for reminding me of the our my pre-kid glory days of just so many plates of nachos. Amazing. Uh, we're doing a bad job of helping you, aren't we, listeners? Okay. So solutions. Don't listen to us talk about nachos. So what actually helps? Really simple principles. And go kind of dovetailing from reason five, too many rules or no clear defaults. Simplicity. Repeatable, simple meals that reduce your decisions. So that's going to help with the buffet effect. And real good health is actually kind of boring. And we don't want you don't want like food is meant to be enjoyed and celebrated and savored. So you don't need to just eat like a boring bland diet. I think there's ways of eating the way that we discussed that are fun. But if we can reduce our choices, we're going to reduce the buffet effect. Have simpler defaults. Maybe you have a plan of like a rotating list of meals you have for breakfast, lunch, dinners. You have certain things for if there's scenarios where you know that they're going to have cake in an office for a birthday. Maybe you keep something in the drawer that's going to be a better default for you instead of indulging. Or you choose like once a week I will have the cake, or I will only have cake if it is homemade or something like that. Have that calm consistency and really think environment. This is all about fighting back against our hostile food environment. And we can't give you all the advice on this because we don't know what your biggest triggers or issues are, or even what environment you live in. So, uh, the goal is not here perfection. It's if we can reduce the decisions, I think we can make fewer, better decisions and get you on a road to better blood sugar. So, um, Brian, any other things you would add?
I like the word choice there. I go back to this rule of if you can, because everything's a choice, and either whether you're aware you're making that choice or not, becoming intentional. And I'll say this, what worked for me when I did do some time restricted eating or fasting, if we want to call it that, was I think reflecting back on it now, what made that so useful was the intention I set at the beginning of the day. Because I'm setting that intention in the morning or the day before, hey, I'm going to be done eating by 7 p.m. and that's it. Because if I made that choice earlier in the day when I still have when I'm not faced with putting my kids to bed and I haven't put my kids to bed yet, I'm like, well, you know what? I made a promise to myself that I was not going to eat. And it's just easier for me to make that choice in that moment than to not have ice cream. But when I am having ice cream, I like to use the rule of like I am choosing to eat ice cream because it's my kid's birthday. Something like if you can give it a reason why you're choosing to eat something that is not so aligned with the goal of reversing type 2 diabetes, then you're going to be in a better place because we don't talk about like perfection. There's nothing about being perfect discipline here or just relying on willpower alone. It is simply, I think, being intentional, being more mindful about where you choose to eat food. I like the idea of one thing I've done too is like keep something that's a little bit more friendly in terms of sweets. If you're going somewhere where they're like, there's just always sweets, and you know there's gonna be too many sweets, and you bring your own version of sweet that's maybe a protein bar, where it's still a
Mhm. I was
processed
going to say
food.
protein bar. I
Yeah,
keep emergency Quest bars for just such occasions when
because
I,
they still taste good.
and it's not that I don't, Brian and I indulge. Brian has seen me indulge, but it's when we turn every eating opportunity into a yummy, fun mouth fun fest that becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So, and so like if you're listening to this and you know what to eat, but you don't always do it, no, you're not failing. Have some grace for yourself. But know that we live in a food system and environment that makes the worst blood sugar choice easier. And the right choice often feels weird when the default around you are people eating food that trashes your blood sugar. So I encourage you to work on improving your food system and environment, having the gumption to stand up for yourself and say, I choose to build an environment that I want to live in so that I have a stronger blood sugar. And let us know what one of these tips really resonated with you, or reasons why you know what to do but don't do it. We want to hear what's hitting home, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. We do want to hear it. And I'll say one more thing that just came to mind is the apps. The apps in your phone. I heard about DoorDash the other day. That is one thing I have not explored as having at my fingertips the ability to order food from any restaurant around me because that would be something that would be potentially, well, not potentially, it would be enabling. It's an enabling
Mm-hmm.
thing that can really mess up your food environment, because then it expands like, well, I don't have to drive out to get like whatever food it is. I can just tap a button, someone will bring it to me. And I think the more we've been enabled, it's it's definitely made things a lot harder. So delete DoorDash off your phone right now. That's my thought. Just make sure if you ever want to do it, you have to go on a computer to do it. And that makes it a little bit harder, has a little bit more resistance to that behavior. Not saying you never order DoorDash again or anything like that, but just make it a little harder for yourself
Yeah.
if that's one of your trip ups.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say maybe make a list of things that trip you up and then start knocking out what ways to improve it. Make your defaults
Yeah.
better. And progress over perfection. None of us will be perfect, but if you want to get on the roadmap to remission, it starts by little, small, simple steps that stack over time. So the winning is boring, guys. It just means doing the work and doing it small and consistently. But thank you all for all of your feedback. We love hearing your success stories. And Brian, thanks for interjecting into this very carefully curated list that I had in the middle of it without letting me know. It's always good to learn to be flexible, and like you need to be flexible out there in the real world. So until next time, share this with a friend. Please send us a nice little rating and review wherever you listen to us. And until next time, we'll catch you on the roadmap to remission.
If this episode gave you clarity or hope, share it with one friend who's been stuck in the diabetes trap. That's how this mission grows. One person, one family, one story at a time. And if you haven't yet, leaving a quick review helps more people find the show and realize they're not stuck with meds forever. It takes less than a minute, and it means the world to us. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being part of this movement toward freedom. Thanks for listening to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap. The ideas discussed here are for general informational purposes only and do not constitute medical or nutritional advice. We are pharmacists, but we're not your personal healthcare providers. Always consult your own physician or qualified clinician before changing medications, exercise routines, or nutrition plans. Results vary, and what works for one person may not work for another.